Is everyone else struggling with sales? That's what you're going to have on community forums. If you're going to go on Etsy community forums, you're going to see this comment all over the place. And people that are struggling with sales are going to be the only ones replying to that. It's like, yeah, we're also having a hard time. And then you kind of comfort yourself, say, okay, everybody's struggling. So it must be just the macro environment of Etsy right now. I guess it's not my fault. That's baloney, okay? There are people, when you're not making sales, there are people out there that are making a ton of money. Like they're making a ton of money, and you're one of many that is not making money, but these guys are. They're the ones that are actually making money. And in this video, I wanna talk about what they're doing that allows them to make money. When I got suspended from Etsy in Q4 of 2023, now I'm back on Etsy right now, but I got suspended. What that allowed me is to disconnect from Etsy for a little bit. Disconnect from my, kind of this ebbs and flows and the cycling of Etsy, and allowed me to disconnect. And that's where I saw, man, there are people that are making a ton of money. How can I do that? Now, after I've been unsuspended, I went into Etsy with a whole fresh mind. Now, my Etsy shop has gotten over 100,000 in sales, and I've consult and do business with or manufacture for top sellers on Etsy. So I can see the decisions that we're all making that allow us to scale our business. And I want to talk about those decision making in this video because they are making decisions. If you're going to sit and hope that next week you're going to get more sales, that next month is going to be better, or I'm going to wait till Christmas and I'm going to make up all the losses that I made or all the lack of sales that I made that I'm not making this year, then it's going to be good. You need to make decisions, make calculated decisions of growing your business. Because that's the whole point. You started your business in the first place. You didn't leave your 9-to-5 so that you can make less than your 9-to-5. Because if we're being honest, if you spend all the time product research and keyword research and trying to figure out how to sell on Etsy, watching this video and fulfilling the orders, you take all that time you spent doing that, divide that by the amount of profit that you got. Not how much money was landed on your account, but how much money you're able to actually spend. Divide that, and that's how much money you're making per hour. And I guarantee you that a lot of you, that will be much less than your 9-to-5. I mean, I met a plumber that makes like $50 an hour. I was like, this is insane. $50 an hour, that's like pretty good. And so go to plumbing school, like you'll make more money. And so you didn't go into business so you can make less. You went into business so that you can make so much more that there's no point of working 9-to-5. So scaling is the decision-making game. If you want to scale your business, you need to make actionable decisions, things that will propel you forward. I'm going to talk about those things here in this video. Now, this is the kind of video you're not going to find on YouTube if you're just searching for. YouTube has been kind of targeting towards beginners because most of the searchable things that are being put into search has been like how to start on Etsy. What is Etsy SEO? How to sell in 20, like it's all beginner based content. So if you want to get more of this kind of content, hit the bell, subscribe, hit the bell notification to be notified, because I'm going to talk about the stuff here that you're not going to search for. You might not know what to search for, but because I've been through it, I want to share with you guys, and I think it's going to be very useful. So I hope you subscribe to the channel. And by the way, at the end of the video, I'm going to share with you guys what I'm doing right now with my business after surpassing 100,000 sales. What am I doing now? So this, I think, is a good perspective on where you should take your business, where's the line or the direction of your business should be going. And so hopefully you watch to the end, because I think that's going to be, my business has gone through so many things. I've been suspended from Etsy. All of my shops have been suspended. Now, unsuspended, what does that life post suspension look like in regards to how do I see Etsy right now? In order to talk about scaling, we got to go to the beginning, right? What are the steps we're going to take in the beginning will really determine where we're going to go. The first steps of going from 0, maybe 100 sales to 1,000 sales. Then we're going to talk about 1,000 to 10,000 sales. And then we're going to do 10,000 to 50, if not 100,000 sales. And what decision making you need to do in those steps, or at least that's the decisions that I made. Okay. I guess this video is more like what I've done for my business and what I've seen other people do. Okay. Etsy or business is just all over the place, and really any decision that you can make, it's probably going to be unique to you. So hopefully this is benefiting you guys. But when we go to the beginning, what you need to start thinking is it's really simple to start getting your first 100 to 1,000 sales. It really is simple. The main thing you need to focus on is value. Okay. If you bring a product to market that is a fair price, it doesn't have to be too cheap. It doesn't have to be too cheap. It's just a fair product. then it is a timely matter. You can get it out the door, timely matter, doesn't matter. When you bring a product that has value, it's going to carry itself. For example, and I said this before, during the kind of like this political times, there's a big community of parents that want to put their kids into private school. They might not be wanting to do homeschool because they're just busy. They need to make money. The economy's tough, so both parents need to work, but they don't want to put them in public schools, so they want to do private schools. So that's kind of like the macro situation. And these moms are going on to Etsy, or dads, going on to Etsy, and they're wanting to find tray sports. Name tray sports because one of the requirements is your child needs to be able to write their name. So there's that need that the parents are coming onto the platform. So if you create name tray sports and you're providing the value, so you are going to have customers because they're coming with that need anyways. When you're making a product that is fulfilling a need that parents are coming with, you're going to have customers, right? People say, why don't I have customers? Why don't I have traffic? And they look at their product and it's like a knitted blanket. I'm like, well, knitted blankets are nice to have sometimes, but it's not targeting a specific purpose. Like, write down exactly what someone can't do this if they don't have my product. What is that? And if you can't clearly identify what that is, that's probably the reason why you're not making a sale. So if you have a clear definition, moms can't take their kids into private schools if they can't write their name. I'm going to help them with that, with this product. Boom. All of a sudden, you have a product. And if it's searchable it'll be found on platform. So that's all you need to do to get your first 100 sales. Now, I did that with my dog collar. I'm gonna kind of go back and forth talking about what I did and what I think you should do. With my dog collars, I bought a $100 sewing machine. And by the way, this is also true on the POD level. So I'm going to just kind of share a little bit on if you're doing it yourself or if you're doing POD. So if you're both of those, stick around. I bought a $100 sewing machine, went to Walmart, bought a $100 sewing machine. Shows you that I didn't have that much money to spend. That's literally all that I was able to spend on this business. And I could make a dog collar. I went on Amazon, bought some buckles, bought some D-rings and sliders, and bought some fabrics from Joann's and like a strap. And I figured out a way to make a strap, but I could have made a blank dog collar, but it didn't provide value. This dog collar could be bought at Walmart. It could be bought at a different store. It doesn't have actual value that was superior than the other store. So I have to have personalization on it. Now, I didn't have money for a $10,000, $20,000 fiber laser. So I went to my friends and I said, hey, can you guys engrave the buckle? And I'll send you the files. All you guys have to do is just zap it on the buckle and I'll pick it up and I'll pay you for it. There we go. So the value was created and I was able to get to my first 1,000 sales. Now, by the way, my business was successful before COVID, and this is exactly how I implement that. A lot of times people got successful during COVID because it was hard not to. Everybody was just online. No matter what you sold, did money. But if you want to make money when, internet is just at its neutral state, when it's back to normal, you need to create value because you're competing against other people. You're competing against other physical locations, other platforms. So you need to create true value. Write down on the napkin, this can't happen if they don't have my product. What is that? Okay. So if you are doing POD, again, it's kind of nice for you because you don't need to think about price or process time. You just need to find a product that has this in mind as well. Okay. The second step, going from 1,000 to 10,000, this is where I had to think about two more elements. Now, instead of just value, I had to think about price and processing time. When you have price and processing time to a highly valuable product, you are going to now outcompete most of the people that you're competing against on the platform. Like most. I had to get equipment. Like I went from a $100 sewing machine to then buying a $1,500 or $1,800 sewing machine, or like a specialized sewing machine. So I was able to bring something into my shop or in my garage that allowed me to take that product from costing me $15 to make down to like $10 to make. And that $5 that I saved, I just subtracted from my price. Now, some of you guys say, no, you can just make more money. No, my goal is to scale. Sometimes when you're scaling, you have to give the profit that you're making or give the benefit to the customer. That will allow you to scale, because the next step after that is building cash flow, and we'll talk about that. So I was able to take that profit and then introduce that to the market, and all of a sudden I'm doing better than most people, because most people, they just want to make money. I wanted to scale, and so now I was out competing them because my price was better. And my processing time was better because I was able to make this not only cheaper, but faster, because that usually comes along with the process when you're improving the process. So that would allow me to get from 1,000 to 10,000 sales. Okay. Now, if you're doing POD, you can't really do that. So what you're going to focus on is you're going to focus on not just doing trace boards, but adding other products to the catalog, right? You're going to do kids' water bottles, back to school water bottles, maybe teacher retractable badges, things like that. You're going to add more. So you can't improve the price or timing. So you're going to improve the first one, increasing the amount of different values you're going to bring, because you're not focusing on doing product, process, or price or process time, right? You're just focusing on creating more listings. So that's the direction you are going to go. And that's what I've seen other guys do. So when you're ready to go from 10,000 to 50,000 or 100,000, you can only go there if you have cash flow. If your step 1 and 2 has generated you enough cash flow that you can now outsource or get equipment on a lease. This is what I did on a 2-year lease, even more specialized equipment that allowed me to then improve my price and processing even better. Okay. Now remember, by this point, I was still doing dog collars, but I was doing a little bit more. I was adding other products to my catalog. If you don't have cash flow or if you don't have volume by the time you've done 1 and 2, you need to keep doing that 1 and 2 until you get cash flow, not till you get to 10,000 sales. There's a lot of Etsy shops that in a span of 10 years, they get 10,000 sales. No, you need to get 10,000 sales in a matter of, less than a year, or matter of like 3 or 4 months. That's at least what I was able to do. And so if you're doing step 1, find a value, see if you can improve the process. Find value, improve the process, and you just keep doing that until you have volume. Once you have volume, then you're able to have cash flow. And that cash flow, you need to calculate for this. This is very important. The person that got your business to this place is you. You're the one that got your business here. So if you're going to bury yourself in fulfilling the orders, you're going to plateau just by the definition. You're just going to plateau because you're not doing the thing that got you there in the first place. So what you're going to need to do is free yourself up. Now, you can free yourself up by getting better equipment so that you're not spending more time fulfilling the order, or you can free yourself up by breaking down the process and outsourcing it. And this will mean that you need to calculate to pay your employees before you hire them. You have cash flow and you say, I'm going to give this to my employees because I think I can do double what we're doing right now if I keep doing step 1 and 2. Okay, this is important because when I did dog collars, I got to that first 2 steps with just dog collars. But then I added harnesses, then I added a leash, then I added stock or dog tags, and I just kept doing that. And so then I was able to the only reason I did those is because I was able to outsource the production, at least 60 or 70% of it. I did like 20% of some kind of specialized things that only I could do. But even that over time, I was able to outsource. Free yourself up. You're the one that got yourself to this business. Now, if you're doing POD, it's also true because you're creating listings again and again and again. So you need to free yourself up to really product research and keyword research or build a relationship with other businesses that they can manufacture your product for you. So you would need to create a team or outsource a collection of contacts that you will send the email to, and they'll perform a specific function. And I've seen this happen in top sellers who do print on demand. They have Photoshop mock-up specialists. They have copywriters who will write their title, description, and tags. Now, it's easier with ChatGPT, but I still see people doing this because both of those specialists will send you this data via spreadsheet or via an email, and then you can just import that into, or you can even have a family member or somebody you have close in shop do that for you, put that into a draft on your Etsy dashboard, and then you approve it if everything checks out. Creating a system that is scalable, that you can bring 200 to 300 listings per week, that's how you achieve that. Because remember, you're trying to scale volume at a good quality listing, right? You can't just do volume automatically with a few clicks of a button and it makes crappy listings. You actually have to have good listings, but then scale that, okay? And so creating a team that will allow you to free up your time that got your business to where it's at today so that you can continue doing that, okay? And so that's really what allowed me to go past the 50 to 100,000 in sales, because I was able to free up my time to do more of the thing that I know how to do. What am I doing now? I got suspended from Etsy shop when one of my Etsy shops with the tag pump was at 120,000, I believe, and some other ones. So collectively, I was at about close to 200,000 in sales on all of my Etsy shops. And so I got suspended. Now, for those that don't know, I had an Etsy shop that had a $7 balance on it. It was an old existing Etsy shop. I forgot all about it. I forgot that there was a balance on it. I didn't pay it, so I technically violated the policy, and all of my Etsy shops were suspended at Q4, which is a whole nother story. So what that allowed me to do is think about, okay, what am I doing as a business? Now, I know these Etsy shops are doing great. Now, when they're going to be opened up, whether they're going to continue doing great or I'm going to just spiral into just desert, which, to be honest, some of the Etsy shops were never open, which means I've lost them forever. Some opened up, never regained traction. Some opened up because they had really good value. They were able to regain most of the traffic. But my Etsy business was never the same. Now, and I was thinking about that before. Like I said, I got a chance to look at the horizon and just see other businesses, not just Etsy shop, other businesses. What are they doing for their business? And whether my Etsy shops were going to get back to normal or not, I had to make a decision on what I should be doing beyond Etsy. Now, luckily, I had an Amazon account that sold the product, which is doing really well. It carried me through the suspension just to pay for the basics. But one thing I started thinking about is, how do I do a B2B business? Because B2B is an interesting concept. When you're doing B2C, business to cut or business to customer, you're selling to a customer, and maybe the lifetime sales of that customer will be $100, right? Maybe they'll come back 2 or 3 times again, and you make additional $30 each time, and you say the value is $100. And the strategy for that is you sell, say, $20, or you spend $20 on somebody that's going to make $30 purchase, not make profit, but then second or third time you make profit. That's what B2C model generally looks like. But with a B2B is that business will, its whole objective is to sell your product if you're doing business with them. Their whole objective is to sell your product, which means they're going to do it again and again and again as much time as it possibly can, which means your invoicing them is going to be much higher. Now, it's going to be a wholesale price, but it's going to be higher. So you're now doubling the volume of your efforts, at least your efforts. Whether the results are going to be the same as yours, that's not noticeable, but at least the efforts will be doubled. So in theory, you're going to that much more increase your output. And obviously increasing output increases cash flow and so on. And then I decided to find 2, 3, or 4 people that will sell my product. All of a sudden, that was a game changer. And that's what I'm doing right now, is I'm finding other people that have the motivation to sell my product. And that has been a game changer. So I wish I had this in mind at stage 2 or 3, because that will allow me to build my business in that direction. Now, I obviously built the business in the direction I want to create this product, my dog collar, as the most efficient process, most efficient effort as possible. In the back of my mind, maybe I'll do wholesale, and maybe. But either way, I'm going to scale it on Etsy, I'm going to scale it on Amazon, and that's my thought. But luckily, it aligned well with this B2B model. So when you're growing or scaling your business, really start looking around and seeing, how can I do a B2B business, or how can I do beyond Etsy business? Maybe it's Amazon, maybe it's Shopify, maybe it's Instagram, whatever the case is. Start thinking beyond Etsy, because Etsy could be a cash flow that will allow you to then build a business to get there. I own all the equipment. I've been very fortunate to pay off all my equipment. I did a 2-year lease. Luckily, COVID was exactly that long, or like 3 or 4 years, but I was able to pay off all my equipment during the big boom. And so once it all came out, I own all the equipment. So I really have a business that is able to bring value to other businesses. And so by God's grace, I have the business that has very little overhead. But if you start building your business from the very beginning with that in mind, you're able to truly build a business, because Etsy will provide cash flow. It will give you cash flow to get to a place when you can do wholesale, you can do B2B. And so really think about scaling at your first sales. Think about scaling at your first few steps of your Etsy business. That's going to change your attitude. It's going to change what your value is. You're going to be in mind, like, okay, I know I made this first product, but how can I scale it to somebody else can make it? And that's the mindset that I've been doing. It's been working for me. So hopefully that could bless you guys. Again, make sure to subscribe, hit the bell notification for these deeper dives, and check out the free training about how to sell products that make some serious gain in the description below. And until next time, you guys have an awesome day.